Hi everyone, welcome back to Gavin Reads It All, and I thought I would go through my summer reading and video plans with you today. I do have a few things happening in June, July, and even August, yep, and I just want to share them with you so you know exactly what to expect on Gavin Reads It All over the next few months. Some very exciting community-based things I'm going to be a part of, and it's just going to be such a lovely time, so I hope you join me on the ride. So please leave a like if you enjoyed this video, subscribe if you haven't already, and let's get into my summer reading and video plans. So this will cover from pretty much now, like end of May, to August. So I want to break this down. We're going to be doing book clubs that I'm taking part in first, and then readathons that I'm also taking part in, and then finally I will go into like the general videos and vlogs that I plan on making and the TBRs for those, so you can see what I'm reading and all of that good stuff. So firstly, for my channel membership book club, we are doing Green Rider by Kristen Britton, and we are doing this in the month of May, and we are going to have a live show for this sometime in June. I haven't nailed down the date just yet, but I am going to be doing this with my love Jade from JD Ray Reads, and it's going to be part of like my membership and her Patreon. So this is what the next book club book is, so I do still need to read it. I will most likely end up reading this at the very start of June. We end up following Carrigan. She is a bit of a fighter, and one day this rider comes through the woods and he ends up dying in front of her, and he has a mission, he has a message to give to the king, and Carrigan then has to sort of take that message from him. And yeah, he is a Green Rider, one of the legendary royal messengers, so that sounds really interesting, and I know my friend Jade loves this so much, and fingers crossed I love it too, otherwise it will be a very awkward live show. And then for my next Christie Crime Solve Along, we are doing this in July, and it's going to be for Dead Man's Folly by Agatha Christie. Don't really know anything about this one, it doesn't really have a summary or synopsis, but it is a murder, and we are going to try and figure it out. We're going to figure out who the hell fucking done it. But this was actually voted for by my channel members out of a few options of Poirot books, so I'm very happy to get back onto the Poirot train because I freaking love that man. I will ride or die for him. Well, maybe not die, but I will ride for Poirot. So yes, we're going to be covering this in July, and there will be a live show for this, the Crazy Crime Solve Along, most like the very end of July. I do have one buddy read as well that I'm doing with Emma from Emmy Reads, and we're going to be doing Parallel Henhouse by Agatha Christie, and we're going to try and solve it together. Again, I don't really know like too much about what this is about, but this was highly recommended. It looks a little bit spooky. This will be the first time that I've tried to crack a case with someone else as well, other than like the many characters that I play, of course. But this should be a very fun time. I'm so excited. But it should be within this time period. Okay, so readathons. Very importantly, readathons. We have a few happening, and one of the main ones, and one that I'm going to be a co-host for, is the Tarot Readathon, which is hosted by Deja from Deja's Book World and Noelle from Noelle Sunday. So they will be linked down below as well as their announcement videos. But they kindly asked me if I would be a co-host for one of the teams, and I am. Love me a little competition, don't I? So yes, I am helping co-host with Team Cups, and Team Cups will also have Deja from Deja's Book World, as well as Kelsey from Kel Sweetie, and then me. So we are Team Cups, and honestly that is the only team you need to know about. If you want to win, you will join Team Cups, but I will also leave like the document that will be so super helpful. Like Deja and Noelle have gone above and beyond with like merch, as well as the document to help you through the readathon as well, because there's like so much happening. It's like going to be so incredible, but all of that will be linked down below, like including like how to join teams and things. Okay, so there are 3 more teams. We have Team 1, so we have Steph from Steph Loves. I know, it feels like a divorce. Jordan from Sorry Book Solid, and Brittany from Vox Feminine Books. And everyone will be linked down below if you want to check anyone out. Team Swords will be headed by Christina Moore from The Roomies Digest, Alexis from Alexis Fully Booked, and Bo from Bo's Books. And then finally, Team Pentacles will be Steph from Fallen to Steph, and believe me, I wish I could. Brie from Locked Booktition, and Elizabeth from Museum Grack Reads. So that will be all month in June, from June 1st to June 30th. Yeah, 30 days in June, yeah. And as I say, everything will be linked down below, but essentially, the main thing is that we use tarot cards to kind of pick our TBR. And the absolute basic thing you need to know is that each of these cards, like the tarot cards, will be connected to a prompt, which is in that Google document. So if you just want to follow along with the prompts, feel free to do that. And I don't personally have a tarot deck myself, so I will be using an online tarot generator. And once I've explained everything, I will pull my first 3 cards, because next, okay, remember, like you can just pull the cards and do the prompts, and that's all you might need to do. But there are additional things that you can do. So you know how like with tarot, you draw 3 cards, the past, the present, and the future? Well, again, Deja and Noelle have gone above and beyond with designing things for this readathon, and they have one of those like matte things that you can have. So like each time you pull like the 3 cards at once and you pull them in order, you lay them on like the sort of matte thing. I'll put it on the screen so you like understand what again, I'm very, very new to tarot, so I don't really fully understand everything, but I do understand this readathon. But yeah, you do put the cards down on these sort of mats, and each team does have like a different card spread. So for Team Cups, I will be using obviously the Team Cups one, and again, you can just use the prompts that each of the cards align with, but like you can earn additional points, you can do additional things. So when you lay them on the spread, for instance, the first card I will put down, alt prompt, choose a book that matches this card's prompt or matches this card's main emotion, and it's up to interpretation. So it can be very fluid. Like, I don't think it's like that rigid. You can do what you kind of want with that. And then the second one that you put down is a card swap. So you can choose a book that matches this card's prompt or swap to the king or queen from this card's suit. And then finally, the third card can align with double points. So double points for a book that not only matches this card's prompt, but was also recommended to you personally. So all of that is optional, but basic thing is you can put the cards down. You can change the prompt if you want to match that. Or you can just like, again, like there's so many things, so many resources that will help you with it. So we're going to do this right now. We're going to pull my 3 cards and we're going to see what I end up getting. So there is a link to a random tarot generator in the document as well. I just Googled and we're just going to see the 3 cards that I'm going to end up getting. So let's see what the first card is going to be. Okay, the Hierophant. And then if we go into the prompts that's in that document, if you go down to the Hierophant, read a book passed down or recommended to you. Okay, perfect. So that will be my first card. Or I can go onto the card spread, choose a book that matches this card's prompt or that matches this card's main emotion. So again, like that's up to interpretation. I don't know what the hell that emotion is on that person's face. It looks like, I don't know, like feeling high and mighty, like superiority. So maybe something like a book that has like some kind of superior character in it or something like that. I don't know. But I'll definitely be able to read a book that was, I mean, passed down to me. I mean, my friend literally just gave me this a few days ago. My friend Adam gave me Silver Cloak by L.K. Stephen. And I don't know, like there's someone in a cloak with their back to you. So that could also count as someone who's feeling a little bit high and mighty. Like, excuse me, turn around, face me. Who do you think you are turning your back to me? You know what I mean? So this could potentially be my first book. I'm not 100% sure yet, but it'll be fun to like just like build the first 3 cards. And then the second card will be the Hermit. Okay. I'm not getting any of the like 2 of Cups, 2 of Wands or anything like that. The Hermit, read a book set in a remote location. I mean, that could be very perfect. The thing is, though, I'm not 100% sure of a lot of the books that are set in a remote location. In a book that I haven't read yet as well. But on the card spread, I can choose a book that matches the card's prompt or swap to the king or queen from this card suit. So I could choose like a King of Cups or a Queen of Cups, I believe. And the King of Cups will be read a book featuring guidance or mentorship, and Queen of Cups will be read a book that you think will move you or make you emotional. So again, like, there's just so much I could do with that. You know, actually, I could probably pick the Soul Catchers. I bought this one not too long ago, but it's about people who have passed on, but they're given the chance to come back to Earth to inhabit an object that belongs to one of their loved ones. This could be emotional. So I could probably do that. Oh my god, see? And then finally, the third prompt will be Wheel of Fortune. Okay. Oh my god, it says Wheel of Fortune. Look at you. Pick a mood read. Are you kidding me? I would love to do that. I will get double points if I pick a book that was recommended to me personally as well on the double points card spread. So a mood read, but a one that was recommended to me personally. There'll definitely be something in here. Something that someone has said, Gavin, read this, and I bought it. But what? It has to be a mood read. So I might not pick that one just yet because it is supposed to be a mood read. So I'm kind of wanting to pick that one when I'm in the mood for it. But see, hopefully that has kind of helped if you've been struggling a little bit with picking your TBR. But I do think I'm going to end up picking Silver Cloak and the Soul Catchers as my first 2 books for the readathon. And we're going to go from there. So hopefully you stick around in the month of June. Hopefully you join Team Cups, the only team, and we will get victory at the end. Oh, there is also a 48-hour readathon, I think June 19th to June 21st. And I kind of do want to do like a 24-hour, like being awake for 24 hours from like midnight to midnight again. So I might try and do that weekend and do even more like card pulls and things like that. So we know exactly what I'm reading and how I'm earning points for my team. So yeah, check everything out down below. And Tarot Readathon, I'm very excited for it. Also on the weekend of June 26th to June 28th, I will be helping Sid from By Sid, formerly known as Sid Bookworm, the icon, the legend. She's doing a month-long Gaymathon with her patrons, but she's also doing a public weekend Gaymathon kind of event. And she's asked me if I could like help with some like reading sprints and stuff like that. So I will be taking part that weekend, June 26th to 28th. I'll again leave a link to Sid's announcement video down below. So that weekend I will partake in sprints, I will host some sprints, and there is a bingo board as well for the Gaymathon, and it's essentially to read like LGBTQ plus books as well as game. And I love gaming, so I will be gaming that weekend. Might try and actually finish Resident Evil 4 in Silent Hill F that I've been playing for freaking ages. Also, there are definitely some like LGBTQ plus books that I want to read, and so I will definitely be prioritizing LGBTQ plus books that weekend. What exactly? Not 100% sure just yet, but I will be trying to fill, or at least like get a line on that bingo board. In July, we have Summerween, hosted by Gabby from Gabby Reads, and I've partaken in Summerween since 2021, so it'll be my 5th year doing Summerween, and I will be doing 3 vlogs to cover the 7 days of Summerween, which will be happening from July 3rd to July 9th this year. And I'm going to do something a little different with my vlogs. I was a little bit inspired by the Fear Street trilogy that was on Netflix, as well as, you know, when I did the Eras Tour of Horror, and I wanted to go like decade by decade. So I thought what would be really fun to do for Summerween this year is if each vlog is themed around a decade of horror. So vlog 1 will be covering the 70s, vlog 2 will be covering the 80s, and then vlog 3 will cover the 90s. And I do have some books that I'd like to read for it. I want to throw it right back to you. So for the 70s, I don't have all of the books that I want to read for this because I didn't have a whole lot. But you know, Paperbacks from Hell by Grady Hendrix and all of the vintage covers of books, well, they started to release those books, like re-release those books that have been out of print with the original covers. And I got some of them when I was in Sleepy Hollow last year. And I only have one from the 70s. I do need to get a couple more. But one of them is The Spirit by Thomas Page. This one came out in the 80s. There is apparently some kind of like Bigfoot creature monster that's nearby, and there are 2 different people who are trying to kill it, John Moon and Raymond Jason. The other 2 books I would like to try and get hold of for this vlog is The Auctioneer by Joan Sampson and Killer by Peter Tonkin. Now look at those covers. Look at those covers. Look at this cover as well. You know, it's like, I love me some vintage horror. I have barely read any, but I love the original covers of them so much. So I would like to give like at least like the 70s one a go with that. And then vlogging days 4 and 5 will be the 80s. And I do also want to try and film the vlogs a little bit, like, you know, like have a filter or something to make it look like the 80s. Have some like 80s hits like playing in some B-roll as well to really make it feel like the 80s. I really want to do that. Same with the 70s, same with the 90s. But yes, I have 2 books that I already own that I got from Sleepy Hollow again that came out in the 80s. So one of them is The Nest by Gregory A. Douglas. It is set in Cape Cod, and I think this is some kind of like creature feature with like maybe some like massive evil killer bees or whatever the hell they are, following the footsteps of other animal attack classics like Jaws and the Rats. Basis for the 1988 cult film adaptation. I didn't realize this was made with film. Oh, cockroaches, mutant cockroaches. Sorry. Here's me thinking that was a bee. And then also The Abyss by Gia Cunningham. There is a coal mine, and the people there are digging a little bit too far down, and I think it takes them to the pits of hell. Now blood flows from faucets and huge thorns tear the ground apart. Half-seen creatures terrorize the town. See, this could be so good. This is going to be so good. Came out in 1981, so I feel like the 80s will be so good to do. And then we're going to pivot a little bit for the 90s, and we're still going to do a little bit of nostalgia though. We are, and I am, for the first time ever, will be reading some point horror books. Now, I have never read point horror. I saw them when I was younger. I was more of a Goosebumps gal. I always read Goosebumps. But point horror, I saw them around, but I never actually read one. And I'm going to try and read 4 for the final 2 days of Summerween for the 90s. So I have Camp Fear by Carol Ellis, Funhouse by Diane Hoare, The Cheerleader by Caroline B. Cooney, and finally The Boy Next Door by Sinclair Smith. Oh my gosh, what a throwback. What a throwback. Can you imagine doing point horror for Summerween for a 90s themed vlog? I only wish Summerween was longer this year. Last year, it was extended a day or 2, and I couldn't really partake in that because I had a bachelorette party to go to. This year, I have the time. I have the time, but I don't have the means. Gabby, extend it. Extend it right now. I might have to extend it myself. Like, if I need to take an extra day for Summerween so I can do a little bit more with these vlogs, then I will. But I'm so excited for this year. Last year, I did suffer my first reading slump on BookTube, and it was not a fun time, and it kind of crept in around about the end of May, more so end of like June, carried throughout July and some of August. It was a dark time. It was a dark time in Gavin Reads It All history. But hopefully, fingers crossed this year, touch wood, it doesn't happen again. I do not want to read in slump for Summerween. At the minute, those are the readathons I'm taking part in. There might be more cropping up. There might be less. Who knows? But getting to like the general videos and vlogs that I want to make in June, July, and August, I do have a couple of crazy locations coming up that I need to go and film at for vlogs of Halloween. So I will be filming them during June and July, trying to edit them, get them up for early access for my channel members, and then premiere those videos in September and October. I've already done one of them, and I do have another place I'm going to in June, and another place I'm going to in July. So that'll be really awesome. I'm very excited, but also genuinely terrified, because the June location is crazy. It is crazy. And I am reading The Descent by Jeff Long for that trip. I have mentioned this in my recent book haul, and I don't know if it's going to give you any indication of what I'm doing. I don't really want to say what it is just yet. You might see it pop up in early access, but hopefully not. I don't want to be spoiled. But there is a cave in the Himalayas, and there are these creatures lurking in the dark, and they are hungry. They are hungry. I love the fact that I've got so much horror on this TBR. Like, it's already nearly time. It's already nearly time for vlogs of Halloween, or Halloween in general, I guess. In Bosnia, something has been feeding upon the dead in a mass grave. So it seems like there are like these devils, almost like these cave-dwelling devils. It was very hard to say that. Try saying that 5 times fast. Cave-dwelling devils, cave-dwelling devils, cave-dwelling devils, cave-dwelling devils, cave-dwelling devils. Around the world, in caves, in stuff like that. And I still need to find out if this is inspiration for the horror film, the British horror film that came out in 2005, I think it was. I still need to find out if this has any connection to it. But yes, I wonder where I'm going. And I don't really know what I'm reading for the July place just yet. But there's time. There's still time. McKenna from McKenna Loves Content, and I do love McKenna, gifted me a couple of David Attenborough books. And I don't often read nonfiction, but for David Attenborough, I will. For McKenna, I will. And I'm genuinely fascinated by Earth and protecting the Earth and looking after the Earth and the beauty of Earth, whether that's like the actual planet or the ocean, which the ocean is on this planet. But I just kind of want to make it different. Just ignore me. But I do want to try and fit these in at some point in like June, July, or August, especially since I think there are some like nature weeks coming up and just weeks to celebrate and love the earth. So it'll be really cool to get these in. I would love to watch the documentary based on this too. So McKenna, once again, thank you so much. You did not have to send me these, but I appreciate it nonetheless. Very excited. It'll be nice as well. Nice and chill to get away from all that horror that I'm reading. I will have the Chrissy Crime and Wine episodes as well. So I'll be having Peril at End House as episode 10? 9 or 10, and then Dead Man's Folly as episode 10 or 11. I've already lost track of how many Christy Crime videos I've done. But yes, keep an eye out for those. And then I will also have my next Gavin Reads All the King, episode 8. I'm already working on it. I'm already filming it. And I've already finished my first book for it, which is Insomnia. And I'll not say exactly what I thought of this one, but it definitely did not go in the direction I thought it would. And I do think I need to bump up reading The Dark Tower ASAP, because I think there were quite a lot of connections that went over my head. But it does start off with a guy called Ralph, and he's lost his wife and he's losing sleep. Like, he is not able to keep sleep, and he has insomnia, but it gets worse and worse. And then he starts saying things, and it is good. It is good. I'll say it is good, but I do think a lot of it went over my head. And it's 902 pages. But I've finished it. I have finished it. So I'm working on episode 8 at the minute, which will also include a reread of Rose Madder. I've already read this one. I read this one years and years and years ago, and I really liked it when I first read it. And I am now in 90s Stephen King as well. So that's the era and the decade that I'm reading, which is great for me because I was born in the 90s. It was my birthday a couple of weeks ago. So I feel like I'm really celebrating it by reading 90s Stephen King. This one is about a woman called Rosie, and she escapes her abusive husband. And while there is the real life horror of being in an abusive relationship, there is also a lot of horror, I think supernatural horror, to come. I can't really remember a great deal about this, so it'll be really interesting to reread it. And then I will be reading The Green Mile as well. I've never seen the film, and a lot of people always say, oh my god, I can't believe you've never seen the film. Yeah, I've never seen it. I don't know what this one is really fully about. I think someone is convicted of murdering these girls, but I don't think they actually killed those girls. But yeah, I don't know, but I'm excited. And then finally, Desperation for that episode. And the episode should come out at like start of June, end of May, start of June, depends on how the next week goes. So this is set in a copper mining town in Nevada, like a desert, but it's kind of abandoned now. There are travelers who come and go, but there is a officer, like a cop, who patrols the highway. And I think, well, I have no idea what happens next. I think the cop might be a little bit unhinged. I think that's what I get from this. And then episode 9 will be following probably in around about August, because I'm just going to be doing 2 short story collections for episode 9. So I'll be doing Skeleton Crew and then 4 Past Midnight. Skeleton Crew has The Mist in it. I've never read The Mist. I've never seen The Mist. It also has The Monkey, and I'm pretty sure it says, yeah, The Monkey was made into a motion picture recently. And I don't think I've heard of any of the other ones. but I loved Night Shift, so I'm excited for another short story collection. And then 4 Past Midnight is novellas, like Different Seasons was. So we have The Langoliers, Secret Window, Secret Garden, The Library Policeman, The Sundog. So these are the 6 Stephen King books I plan on reading this summer. And honestly, I'm telling you, like, this is a lot of horror and thriller. A lot of horror and thriller. So we're going to pivot a little bit because I do have a couple of other series like Stay Across My Bookshelves and Boss or Toss, TBR Traders. I'm going to try and avoid horror as much as possible for those. So you will still get other things other than horror. We might get a little bit of romance. We'll get a little bit of fantasy in those. So one thing I don't really know what my TBR will be for is the next Snake Across My Bookshelves. So that will be episode 5. And I will be filming that one at my local library. So I will be doing that in June. Yeah. Next month. I'll be doing it in June. And what I'm going to be doing is playing Snake across my local library's bookshelves. So I'll be using my local library. I'll be getting out the house a little bit more as well. And I will genuinely have no clue what will get picked because I still need to sort of envision how it's going to work in my local library and obviously get permission to film and stuff. I won't be like putting my camera in front of people's faces. Oh, no, 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 no. I will have to like do the random number generator, give numbers to the shelves in the library and just like play it that way kind of thing. But anything could be picked. I might just pick the A to Z in the local library. I might just pick the fantasy section in the library. I might pick the romance section in the library. I don't know. I might try and like do a combination. No, I feel like maybe general fiction A to Z would be for the best. Because it'll have a little bit of everything on it, I guess. Maybe, I don't know. So we will be using my library this summer. Very excited to get back there. I also have an anticipated sequels video that I want to do. One of my favourite videos of last year was doing the sequels video for Emboss or Toss. And there are currently 4 sequels that I am dying, absolutely dying to read. So one of them is For We Are Many by Dennis A. Taylor. This one is a sequel to We Are Legion, We Are Bob. And it is part of the Bobiverse. And Bob, he want to get cryogenically frozen, but then he gets killed. And he wakes up as a token head, hundreds of years later. It's a sci-fi, fantasy, adventure kind of comedy. And so I'm looking forward to reading the sequel of that. Obviously, The Butcher's Masquerade by Matt Dinnerman. I have been putting this one off for way too long, and I need to get me some Dungeon Crawler Call action inside of me. The 8th book has just come out. I haven't got it yet, but this is the 5th book, so I still have time to read these before I have to pick that one up. But Dungeon Crawler Call, you know exactly what it's about because everyone talks about it now, and I have talked about it to death on my channel the last like nearly 2 years since I started it, and I'm still only on book 5. Like, how crazy is that? How absolutely crazy is that? But there's Princess Donut on the cover, and if that does not excite you, that we have a talking cat, I don't know what to tell you. Other than that, it's like a fantasy, kind of sci-fi again. Aliens taking over the world, puts all the humans into these dungeons that they have to play through. It's a lit RPG, and yeah, it's great. Oh my gosh, I have been dying for this one as well. So this is A Bond Undone by Jin Yong. It is the sequel to A Hero Born, which I read in China last year, and it became one of my favorite books of 2025. And I've been waiting for the Broken Binding to release their edition of book 2. Still waiting for book 3 and 4. But I am prioritizing this one because I don't even need to reread the first book to remember what happened in it. Like, that's how much it stands out in my brain. But we have the 7 heroes of the South trying to find the sons of a couple of heroes who were introduced at the start of A Hero Born, and deadly, bloody things happened at the start of that story that meant that these sons of these legends have been like split off into the world, and they are trying to find them. And it's great. It's so good. It's Wuxia, I believe it's called, like maybe Wuxia. So it's like martial arts and stuff. Honestly, I didn't think I would love it as much as I did, and I did. And then finally, for that anticipated sequels, we have Royal Assassin by Robin Hobb. I did recently read Assassin's Apprentice, or reread Assassin's Apprentice a few weeks ago for my Quitting Coffee vlog. So if you want to see my thoughts on the first book, then check out the Quitting Coffee vlog. I am making like lots of notes, what I would like to do spoiler-filled Farseer trilogy like retrospective review kind of video once I finish the trilogy. So this is book 2. Very excited to give it a read. And while Assassin's Apprentice is still pretty fresh in my head, don't want to forget anything to her. There will be another Gavin Reads All the Discworld. We're going to do episode 3. And so we're going to cover books 9 to 12 of the Discworld series by Terry Pratchett. So we will be reading Eric. And then we will move on to Moving Pictures. And then we will have Reaper Man. Very excited to read another Death book. I freaking love Death. And then Witches Abroad. And I do love the Witches books as well in this series. So I have only done 2 episodes so far. Episode 2 didn't do brilliantly. So I'm wondering if maybe I can do a few more episodes to round out the year. Get to Hogfather in December so I can do that Christmassy themed kind of video. And then maybe I might just try and read the last, is it like 21, 23 books in one video. Maybe just like try and binge through them all. Do a little bit of a Discworld challenge per se if like the vlogs don't do like that amazingly. But I am committing to getting to Hogfather at the end of the year because it's in my 26 books to read in 2026, as is Witches Abroad. So yes, we're going to do that. We are definitely going to do that. Discworld is a great fantasy comedy series that's made me laugh so much. And it's my very first time reading through the series and reading Terry Pratchett for the first time. I will be doing episode 3 of TBR Traitors potentially in July, like late June, early July. And I already have a friend in mind who I want to help me with picking the traitors that will be on that TBR. And yeah, I'm going to try and pick books that aren't horror and stick to maybe some like romances, maybe some fantasy romance or just fantasy as well, maybe a sci-fi or two. Stick to some 26 books to read in 2026, and that will be part of it as well. I don't really want to pick a TBR for it just yet because I don't want to get to filming that episode and be like, oh, well, actually, I don't really fancy this one anymore and that one anymore. You know what I mean? So I'm going to like wait a little bit. So at least we have episode 3 to come out this summer, and that's going to be really fun. Emboss or Toss episode 11, I think will be coming out August. So I'm trying to like break it down. So I do like Snake 1 month, and then I do TBR Traitors another month, and then Emboss or Toss another month, and then I cycle through it. So it'll be like 1 episode of each, like every 3 months. Hopefully that like helps with my workload and like doing all of the series that I do. But yes, Emboss or Toss episode 11. I've just done episode 10. And does anyone remember Play Your TBR Right? Does anyone remember when I did this stupid TBR game back in 2020, in 2021? Does anyone remember that? It will be 6 years since I debuted Play Your TBR Right, and 5 years since I last played it. And I think for an Emboss or Toss episode 11, I will go back to my old TBR game to celebrate 6 years of Play Your TBR Right and play my Emboss or Toss TBR Right. How does that sound? So if you did not know, I did have a TBR game where I would base it off Play Your Cards Right, which was a game show. And I would pick 2 books, 1 book that I was really excited to read, and 1 book that I did want to read, but not as much. And it could be like a really intimidating book. I remember one year, The Stand was on there, and I didn't want to read that one as much as the one that I wanted to read. And I ended up losing, and I had to read The Stand. Obviously, I'm a big Stephen King fan now, but that's essentially the premise. I picked 2 books, and I put them each on one side, and then I put 5 cards between them, and then I have to turn the cards over and guess if the next card is going to be higher or lower than the card I've just turned over. And it's like a little bit convoluted, I guess. It's a little bit hard to explain, but it was a fun time. And I think for one more try for an Emboss or Toss, let's toss it back to 2020 and 2021 during the TBR game hypes and play a TBR game. Play your TBR right. But it could go so wrong. A good classic that I want to read, especially since it's in my 26 books to read in 2026, is Oliver Twist by Charles Dickens. And I do want to do a reading vlog for it filled with spoilers and maybe do a little bit of consider yourself at home, you know, a little sing-along. You know, that's what we do on Gavin Reads It All. We're not like the other booktubers. We have musical numbers in our vlogs. And not everyone likes that, and that's fine. Fortunately, there are thousands of booktubers out there now who will cater to everyone's taste. My taste is very specific, and it's the cringe taste. But yes, Oliver Twist, I've never read the book before, and I do love the musical that came out in the 60s, I believe it was. Good grief. Or was it the 70s? No, I think it was the 60s. And it's about an orphan boy called Oliver, and he ends up being the awful dodger in London and joining a gang of criminals led by Fagin. And it's Victorian London too, so poverty and stuff like that is explored. Very excited to give Charles Dickens a read. I haven't read Mr. Charles in such a long time. So that will most likely be in July. In August, I am going to Peru at the start of August with some fantastic travelers. I cannot wait. We have our group chat for it, and we've just been so excited to get out there and to get adventuring. We will most likely end up reading having some kind of buddy read, or reading something that's either written by an author from Peru or a book set in Peru or something like that. That'll be really fun. And I do have 2 spots left for my South Africa trip that I'm doing in October 2027. So if you want to check it out, I will leave a link down below. I don't want to push it, but yeah, I do have 2 spots left if you want to check that out. And I think maybe end of August I will start to film another Snake Across My Bookshelves, but in my home library, so that I am reading my actual owned TBR and getting these shelves from red to red. And for the Snake Across My Bookshelves after the local library video, it will be reading the oldest book that I purchased on each shelf. So for example, the oldest book that I purchased on this shelf would probably be, I actually don't know. I would have to guess. I feel like I would have to guess. Maybe The Secret Society of Irregular Witches? Maybe? Or something like The Clockwork Girl? Maybe, or you know what, actually, probably Ordinary Monsters by J.M. Miro. Did this come out in like 2021 or something? 2022. This one came out in 2020. It might be this one. So it could end up being a massive book on a shelf, but it would have to be the oldest one purchased. For example, this shelf as well, it would probably be The Strange Case of the Alchemist's Daughter by Theodora Goss. So like, you just never know. It depends what shelf I land on. The oldest book that I purchased off that shelf, that will be what I will be reading. And then later on in the year, I will do like reading the newest book on each of the shelves. But I really want to do the oldest books first and really get those ones off my TBR that have been on my shelf for years. I think that'll be really fun. And that, I guess, is a little bit about it. I do have a lot of leeway as well. I know it doesn't sound like it. I do have some leeway when it comes to like filming some like mood vlogs, or if I fancy doing something else, then I will. So take some of this with a grain of salt. These are my plans, and I do like to stick to my plans as much as possible, but things might change a little bit. And if it does, I apologize. But yeah, this is pretty much what to expect over the next like 3 months-ish on Gavin Reads It All. So thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Don't forget to leave this video a like if you enjoyed, and subscribe if you haven't already. Leave all the comments down below. Let me know if you're joining Team Cups for the Tarot Readathon. Let me know if there are any books I mentioned in this video that you are very excited to read. Maybe you're taking part in Summerween or Gaymathon as well. Let me know everything down in the comments. I would love to chat to you. I want to give a huge thank you to my channel members for supporting my channel. If you'd like to join my channel membership, then the link is in the description box. But yeah, I hope I will see you in the next video. Bye.